Comedy and action are two of my favourite genres in all of cinema, and put together they can create a film that is a joy to watch. They may seem like the genres that are most accessible and mainstream, but I believe with the right person behind the camera, an action comedy film can be just as special and intricate as a classic drama or thriller. In my opinion, Edgar Wright's Hot Fuzz is one of those films, striking a perfect balance between all its working parts to create what I consider my all-time favourite film. In honour of the film's 10th anniversary, I'd like to discuss this film in depth, focusing on a specific aspect that never fails to blow me away. With this being my favourite film, there are of course several aspects that would fall into this description. The one thing that always stands out when watching Hot Fuzz is its strong attention to detail. I find this to be so incredible because it makes the film endlessly more rewatchable, as no matter how many times I've seen it, I always pick up on a fun little detail that I may not have noticed on previous viewings. First and foremost, there is no denying that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg put a tremendous amount of effort into ensuring that everything in this film had a purpose. The screenplays are always so tightly packed and written in a way where no detail is left unaccounted for. With every film in their Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, they plan out every little detail of their films on a large flip chart, which they use largely to brainstorm all their ideas and organically arrange all of the film's elements. On the special features for the film, or on YouTube somewhere, you can see Wright and Pegg going through this flip chart, showing their process and even showing fun details that didn't make the final draft. Because of this excessive and absolutely effective planning, the film has benefited greatly, as every scene of the film ends up having a purpose one way or another. It seems like a no-brainer, but even the scenes that don't necessarily progress the plot at the time end up having an impact later in the film, affecting a character internally or pushing forward the plot. The scene that comes to mind in particular would be the guns shed scene with David Bradley's character. Although this scene is a lot of fun and provides memorable gags, its overall purpose in the narrative doesn't become entirely clear until the film progresses. This comes into play in a very big way at the end, providing Angel with all the weaponry for the end shootout and also setting up the bomb which ends up blowing up the police station. A similar technique is also applied to many of the film's gags. Throughout many scenes, there are quite a few gags which seem like throwaway gags that have no effect on the narrative, when in fact, they're cleverly disguised setups for something to happen later on. Some examples of this would be Danny's ketchup trick allowing him to save Angel's life.
Hey, watch this. Jesus Christ! Danny!
The phone book joke of Aaron A. Aronson showing up to be a real person at the end.
Do you want us to go through the whole phone book?
Yeah, we'll put a call into Aaron A. Aronson, shall we?
Ta.
What's your name?
Aaron A. Aronson.
Sorry?
Or the Swan showing up in the third act to kill the bad guy. Using gags to set up a payoff for later in the film is an extremely clever way of disguising foreshadowing, because the audience doesn't suspect the fact that it is putting something in place for later, due to the scenes working on their own as a funny gag. One of my favourite uses of this is actually when Danny shows him Point Break and Bad Boys 2, after asking him whether he'd seen the films earlier. The reason I like this one so much is it has significant impact on the character of Nicholas Angel and his conflict, using the films to help him switch off and take his mind off the job.
You just gotta learn to switch off that big old melon of yours.
Another way in which little details are used to enhance the film is through a lot of the mise-en-scene and imagery. Throughout the film there are many clues within the background of shots which correlate to the film thematically, or to a character's personality. An obvious example would be the imagery of owls in various scenes to give the implication of eyes being everywhere, and to represent the logo of the Neighborhood Watch Alliance. There are also many clever hints at who certain characters are through the choices in the mise-en-scene. One of my favourites being Sergeant Fisher being introduced with a mind map positioned behind his head, outlining his various personality traits. Although these elements might seem like extra details thrown in just for people to find, I feel that Wright was doing it to allude to the overarching themes of the film and to establish the characters in a visual sense. With the screenplay so tightly written and an immense attention to the background imagery, Hot Fuzz is one of the most clever comedy films to come out of the 21st century. It is not only a great action comedy, but with all its intricacies and attention to filmmaking, it is also a great film in its own right, or own Edgar Wright. No? Okay. So next time you watch Hot Fuzz or any of Wright's films, be on the lookout for all the little details that, although seem trivial, they really do enhance the film once you pick up on them and their implications. Yeah, I guess that about does it. Thanks for watching everyone, and be sure to subscribe by clicking on my head, so you can be the first to see my next video if I ever make one. Also, feel free to let me know any of your favourite details from Hot Fuzz, or any of Edgar Wright's films in general. I'd love to know if there's anything I haven't picked up on. Thanks guys, see you next time.